Sonja James, principal of Sheiko Elementary, along with Shahenda, who is a teacher over at the elementary school as well. We had you on, Principal James, a little bit earlier. We ran out of times. We're happy to have you back on to kind of bring us up to date on this important discussion and how this is working with you in the middle of a pandemic and trying to get kids back to the classroom and focus on learning, how diversity is also playing a part.
Well, thank you, and I am glad to be back. Diversity is it's everything that we do each and every day, and especially in these times where COVID has taken us off our schedules, out of the loops of things, and just trying to bring a sense of normalcy back for our students. We've worked really hard with looking at the types of books that we're offering our students in options that they have. One of the things I mentioned the last time I was here was that our students need to see themselves in what they're reading each and every day throughout our curriculum, what choices they have from the Eye Center. And today I have our Eye Center teacher, which is Mrs. VanNostrand, and she really is the person that can tell you what she's done in the Eye Center to help diversify our book selection and how she's encouraging that every day with her lessons via Zoom to our students. So I'm going to punt to her so that she can tell you guys a little more about what's actually happening from her end. How does that sound?
That is great. Thank you so much. And
All right.
Shahenda, if I can ask you, how do you pick the books to be able to introduce to the kids, especially in a community such as West Bloomfield, which is so diverse?
I would say the first thing that I do is I have a very active reading life. And so for me, a lot of times I'm on Twitter or, using the school librarian's journal and reading and, getting people's recommendations and just looking at the new books that are coming out and which communities they represent, which cultures they represent, and making sure that when I do end up placing an order, that I include as many different cultures as possible, because our students, Dr. Bishop says we all need windows, mirrors, sliding doors. We need to be able to see ourselves. We need to, be able to see others, and we need to be able to step into other people's lives. And so in order to do that, we have to get diverse books into, the students' hands. Students often will say, wow, I've never read a book that had a character that was just like me. And, I think third, fourth, and fifth grade, that's a huge accomplishment if I'm able to help students get books in their hands that represent who they are and they feel seen. So there's lots of different avenues that I use to find books and make sure that when the orders are placed that they are diverse.
I'm an avid book reader as well. There's nothing better than getting lost in a book to take you worlds away. But you're also facing a pandemic in which kids are stressed, they're tired, they're trying to adapt to this world of remote learning. Is this a relief for them and an escape, or is this an additional pile on their to-do list that maybe isn't reaching them the way it would reach them if we weren't in the middle of this crisis?
That is a great question because I feel like, the process that we're going through right now, our fifth graders are placing books on hold. And for them, the students that are looking for those books, they're able to get them right away. And so for them, I think it is an avenue for a release. It's something that they can do and they're enjoying. I would love to say that all the students have a love for reading, but that's not the case. But we're developing that love in students by giving them a variety of books to choose from. I am so happy with all of the authors and illustrators and companies like Netflix that did all of these read alouds with our authors. and the kids got to see the actual author read the book aloud. And sometimes they take that book, and even though, it may be a picture book, they've turned it into something that looks more like a movie. And so I think for some of our readers, those avenues, they are enjoyable, and they are able to find, some peace in listening to an author read a book aloud, or a celebrity read a book aloud, or their teacher or their principal. And so that, I think, has made it fun. I mean, I know that there are teachers that are reaching out and doing, nighttime family read alouds and doing it via Zoom, and the options that we're giving kids in our slide presentations to click on a book and, listen to it be read to them. So I don't think it's another thing to do. In fact, this last week, I gave the students two books and a song as an option for them to listen to that followed our mantra, which was "You are the best." And the feedback, one of the questions I asked was, "What do you want to see more of?" And they were like, "We want to see more book choices." And originally I was like, okay, I don't want it to be a daunting task because, this is their day at home. And I was like, okay, great. That was great feedback. And now instead of just 2 books, I'll have more on the shelves for them to click on and read. So I think I answered the question. I think that kids are finding enjoyment in reading, even in this pandemic, and they are able to laugh and just have fun with books. They are, receiving rigorous instruction in their classrooms, and they're being, they're given time to do independent reading. And I think at home, sometimes we're not setting aside the time for independent reading. And sometimes then that becomes, like one more thing to do. But I really, truly believe that our students here at Sheiko, for the most part, are really enjoying reading and the reading opportunities that are being offered to them right now.
How hard is it for you to find authors writing these types of books?
How hard is it?
Yes.
Honestly, I am in the best position right now for the times that we are in. I have, in my 18 years of being an educator, I remember days where when I first taught, I taught in Detroit, and I wanted to get diverse books for my students. And it was so hard. I would go to the library and they're like, well, we don't have books that are organized by just, Black authors. And I was like, well, that's kind of like a thing, right? Like, who are the Black authors? So that was like my first year teaching. And now I feel like no matter where I go, whether it's Barnes and Noble, there's a table that's set up specifically for, with Black voices. There's a table set up for just different things that we're experiencing right now. I think people have never been more intentional than they have been right now to make sure that those books are visible, that those authors are receiving deals or contracts to write books that, show, who they are in their lives. I'm doing a global read aloud right now. And it's a global effort where educators across the world are reading books by illustrator and author Juanita Martinez Neal. And she's a Latino, and she has, several different books that I'm reading aloud to the kids. And like this week was La Princesa and the Pea. And even though that's like, a fairy tale that we all know, it's a different spin on it. And there were some Spanish words in there. And it was interesting. I would say to the students, I've done a lot of work to try to make sure I pronounce these right. Does anyone speak Spanish? And a couple of kids raised their hands, and they were you could see a sense of pride in sharing that. And then if I said something wrong, they would raise their hand and say, hey, V really sounds like a B. And so it was I just don't think there has been a better time than now where these books are actually getting published. And it's just, it's awesome.
What I love is that the kids are teaching the teacher as well. Principal James, if we could ask you quickly, what do you see as the future of this program? Where do you hope it goes? Is this something that's going to be long-term?
Oh, of course, this is going to be long-term. And I just want to piggyback off of what Shahenda said in terms of our students developing that love for reading and the diversity in terms of the book selection, the authors that are out there, and the interest level, not just for our ethnic groups, but our genders as well. Books for boys, that's been something really hard for our boys to find books that was of high interest. that would take them to a place that they begin to love reading, or at least open a book, because now I have something to select from that interests me. And I just see this continuing to grow as we're growing in our diverse population. I think the world around us is continuing to grow, and seeing everyone globally instead of just through a select, isolated lens of selections for our students to read. And I just think that it is something that gives them that relief also. You know, being able to click on an author, a book title, and have one of your celebrities reading and reading to them. Or as we have one of our teachers, he does the Thursday family read aloud, where he's in his home and families are zooming in. So it's becoming not just something you're doing in school, but bringing families together around something that is going to help our students in the long run in terms of just reading and reestablishing that love or excitement for reading, and actually having a book in their hand, something tangible that they can touch, feel, and read along with their teacher. So I don't see this as something that's for the here and now. This is something for the long run, and something that's going to continue to grow.
We're joined by Sonja James and Shahenda VanNostrand from Sheiko Elementary today on the Oakland County Megacast, talking about their new diversity and literature program at Sheiko Elementary, and an effort that's being made throughout the school district as well. Shahenda, in putting together these reading materials and in distributing them to the students, or encouraging students to read reading materials that have a wide range of diverse backgrounds, how important also is it for students to read from the perspective of characters and authors of different cultures as well? Because so much of learning about our diverse world and diverse cultures is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. So for someone that is a young white boy, it's important for them to learn about the experiences of someone else that's their age, but maybe is a Latinx girl or an Asian boy like themselves. How important is it to incorporate that element of diverse learning and reading into this program for your students across the board?
I can say that it's definitely one of our focuses. So our PTO received a grant for through Walmart for diverse books, and so we started there. So the first order that I was able to do was $1,000, and those books went into the classrooms. So the thing that's most important is that students have free choice when it comes to choosing books. Then it becomes our role as the educator, that whether it's the teacher in the classroom or whether it's the I-Center teacher, to then choose books that give them that other opportunity. So a lot of times students, for free choice, they tend to pick a book that is a mirror for them. It's someone that's like them. And then when we're doing read alouds, we make sure to choose books that are from many different diverse, cultures and people. So I think really the most important thing is that as a part of our roles as educators is to continue offering those other opportunities where they have the sliding door that they're walking in someone else's shoes, that they have those opportunities when they may not actually choose it for themselves. And we help them also learn about other voices and have those experiences by modeling it, by reading it aloud to them, by sharing books that we're reading on our own. And for the I-Center, when I get the new book, I just got a new set of books that I'm really excited about. And I'm going to record a video just doing like a book hype where I'm talking about each book and saying, guys, these are new in our I-Center. I can't wait for you to check them out. Because a lot of what our students end up choosing is what we initiate, what we share with them, what we model for them. When they see us enjoy something, they tend to, give it a try and hopefully enjoy it themselves also. So, I think that aspect of it is really important. We're embedding it in what we're doing in the classrooms, and it's something that's constantly being shared and celebrated, really.
Shahenda, If I could just ask you this question, because it's something I even struggle with as an adult, is that whole debate between an actual physical book and the smell of the book and turning the pages versus the ease and the availability of downloading books onto maybe your iPad or iBooks. How are your kids reacting to this new world? Are you seeing a difference at all, or are you trying to urge them towards the old school actual book in your hand, turn the pages?
To be honest, we know that students are going to do what's the most comfortable for them. And, during COVID, we were really using this site called Epic, and it has a lot of books and a lot of books that they have an opportunity to have them read aloud to them. And so I don't think there's a wrong way to read a book or have a book read to you. I think the fact that they're choosing either to download it or to, have it physically in their hands, that's like personal preference. I think for a lot of adults, like for me, I mean, I may be unique, but I do both. So if I have a physical copy of a book and I can download it on my phone, that just means that I'm always able to, it's easily accessible. So that easy access for our students is really what it boils down to for their choice. Whether it was because they could only go online that they chose that option. I can tell you right now that, the kids that are super excited to have that physical book are putting the books on hold, and they're asking me about them, when they see me in the hallways. Not everyone's comfortable going into the library yet or utilizing the online, putting books on hold. Technology, although we're surrounded by it, people still aren't comfortable with pushing through, when something goes wrong, like just trying to make sure that if something happens, like with the online getting books on, putting them on hold through the library, sometimes, it's not an easy process. So they're going to do what's easier, what's easily accessible. And I don't think there's a wrong way, honestly. Like, there was an article that just came out about graphic novels and how people always look down on them, and then we had Jerry Craft, he, won the Newbery Award for his graphic novel, the first ever. So I just think that we're in a world that is changing, and whatever is easily accessible to them is what they're going to read or experience, whether it's read aloud to them. And I think it's all great. I honestly think it's all great because they're still hearing the stories. They're still thinking about the characters. So they're still developing a love of reading regardless of the format.
And Principal, if we could just bring you in with any last minute thoughts that you want to share with this on this program and where it's going to go from here and the lasting impact that you hope it has on the kids.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for having us back again. And two, the lasting impact is that our students will walk away with a greater love for reading. And we don't see this going away. Our hope is for this to continue to grow. And when the world opens up again, where we are able to do some of the things where we have mystery readers come in, we'd love to have you guys come over and read to our students as well, too. So again, it's just looking for those opportunities for us to have kids read and enjoy what they're reading.
Reading opens up worlds of opportunities and exploration, and we hope kids take advantage of it because it really is such a gift. Thank you to the both of you for being with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast.